Hey, it's been a minute since I walked and talked. Um, Not even sure what I wanted to talk about today, but I missed a video yesterday, so I'm gonna do two today. So I guess this one should be an interlude or something. I don't know. But some things I've been thinking about lately is just like the future. um, so I'm looking for jobs, looking for companies that I really enjoy and want to work at. Um, and just thinking about my own type of company that I want to build. Starting to realize a lot more and more about types of things that I value and what I'm interested in doing, stuff like that. So I guess yeah, let's just talk about that. So I was wondering why I'm like so interested in technology and why like whenever I think about places to work, when I think about like working at a typical kind of kind of software shop where they just make regular type of websites for people, like the idea bores me so much, and I get like I don't want to say depressed, but I get like down just thinking about it, just thinking about being in a job like that. It feels like being stuck in a place where I don't really feel personally like personally excited about working, you know. Um, but when I think about working with things like virtual reality, augmented reality, spatial computing, or even just blockchain technology, or all this emergent technology, all this emergent stuff coming out today, it excites me because I feel like I have a hand in our future and what humanity will be doing next, you know? And that stuff excites me so much. Um, to try to psychoanalyze myself, uh, I think it's because in the in my childhood, kind of growing up, much of my life has been reactive and has been a result of technologies that have kind of failed us. That has been a result of inaccessible resources. It has been a result of poverty and just being poor. And it sucks being poor because you realize, especially when you're aware of how poor you are, you realize how much that you're missing out on. Not from a perspective of fear of missing out. I'm talking from a perspective of not being knowing that there are a lot of tools and resources that you can probably be really good with, but you simply don't have access to because they're too expensive or they're too difficult to use, and difficult as in like they don't even run on your computer. Like you need hardware that is $3,000. You need two to $3,000 computers just to run this sort of software, right? And so a lot of my childhood has been kind of stuck with the the kind of bottom of technology, in today's society, in America at least. I know I've been fortunate to have access to the type of things that I had growing up. Like I'm not, even though I experienced poverty, like I experienced not, going without food, struggling to find even water, but at the same time, I never had to like trek 3 miles for some water out of a desert, right? I never had to worry that my plumbing, like that I have to use the bathroom in the same place that I'm going to drink water from later, right? I haven't had to realize. I know that I have some level of privilege. At the same time, I know that in America, I've missed out on a lot. So, and it's frustrating because I know I could have accomplished a lot more if I had a lot more opportunity. Um, so the whole idea of America being freedom of opportunity, but not freedom of access or whatever the term is kind of ridiculous to me because even in America, there's not freedom of opportunity, right? Like public education is not equal, right? Like I went to school in a place where our entire state is like Georgia is 48th among the other states, like in terms of in terms of educational status, in terms of educational um, rigor, Like even our state, our entire state is that bad. And then my county within that state is pretty bad because Clayton County lost accreditation, just the year um, before I got into high school. So I was that close from kind of my own high school experience kind of being meaningless in a way. They gained accreditation back and stuff like that. But even when I was in school, like I've had a lot of times when we've had these problems where certain staff kind of took a bunch of funding. Like we had situations when I think it was a principal or a superintendent or something like that straight up stole like half the county's funding. Stuff like that. Like there's a lot of things like that where I realized the depth of the problem. you know um, so when I think about today's technology and the stuff that's coming out today, I'm thinking about it in terms of what can I do to make sure that the next generation does not have to face the same level of disadvantage. I want to ensure that whatever technologies we're creating and we're designing today, that they're accessible to the people on the bottom, right? Because the whole idea of a trickle-down economics is kind of ridiculous, both from an empathetic standpoint and from a moral, well, it's kind of related to empathy, but from a really an economic standpoint. I'm not an economist, so I can't say it for sure, but just from my lived experiences, I know this is, assumptive. Well, not assumptive. This is what's the term I'm looking for here? Allegorical. That's not really the term, but you get what I'm saying to say. Like this is not objective data. This is my lived experiences, but I think our qualitative data, matters. Like if the qualitative experience is not good of a product, it's not a good product, even if it quantitatively, solves the issue. The qualitative experience matters, right? And so that's what I wanted to pay attention to as a designer. I want to make sure that the products that we design and that we create are meaningful, and are delightful. But delightful is an overused word. And me growing up, reading fantasy and science fiction, I love magic. I love sufficiently advanced technology that's indistinguishable from magic. And so I wanted to design interfaces. I wanted to design products that make people feel a sense of that magic, that make people feel a sense of inspiration and motivation and empowerment just from using the tool. And I want to make sure that it's accessible to as many people as possible, because I think trickle up economics is much more of a much better qualitative experience. Like when you design something so that the people on the quote unquote bottom have a really good experience, then you don't really have to worry about the worst case scenarios, because you're designing for the worst case scenarios. You're going to make sure that on the worst case, it's still going to be a great experience. I think that's called there's actually a design term for that. Shoot. I need to study my vocabulary again, but I understand the concept. I just the word, the phrase is kind of getting away from me. But the concept is that there's either two ways to design it. Either one, you design something so that you have something that's really good on the most modern stuff, and then you look at how it would degrade. I think it's graceful degradation. So once you design something for the modern, like browsers or whatever, for example, you want to ensure that the older browsers can still have a good experience, a good enough experience. It's not going to be as good as the modern stuff, but it's still going to be doable. It's going to be usable. At the other hand, you can also design from the bottom up. So kind of look at what the oldest browsers and stuff like that has access to, like what the experience is for that level, and then build on top of that so that it will kind of uncover more and more features as you get for the larger use cases. But the most basic use case is still going to be very usable. Both of them are actually, I don't even think these are related to this metaphor I'm giving you, because both of those are meant to be usable, at the lowest perspective. But for trickle down economics, they're not really thinking about what is usable for the lower, perspectives. They're not thinking about what a person's experience with technology is, at the bottom rungs of society. They're just like, oh, if we create the best technology possible, eventually it will get down to the other people. Eventually it will raise the quality of life for other people. But they're not really thinking about what that quality of life is for people in their perspective. And that's, as a designer, that's kind of ridiculous, because that's like building a product and be like, kind of just ignoring the not even the edge cases, but ignoring the almost 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50% of people who think that's not very usable, right? It's like designing a website and saying, oh, if you have super fast internet, you're really gonna like this. But if you don't, then whatever. Eventually, you have fast internet, and eventually you'll get access to it, right? That's the type of ridiculousness it is, to design a society like that. So I know it kind of gotten off base, but that's how I'm imagining interfacing, or that's how I'm imagining my design experience, or what I want to do as a designer. So I want to be able to create products and have my hand in these big corporations and these startups, these ambitious startups that are building really groundbreaking and really disruptive technology. And I want to make sure that we're always thinking about what the usability is of these products for the average person and for the person at the quote-unquote bottom rung of society. Like, we really need to think about these edge cases more, because a lot of the times the edge cases are not edge cases. Right? Like, they happen fairly often, and especially when you have a very large product, if you're always ignoring these edge cases, then you're always going to have a ton of issues that crop up, a ton of bugs, a ton of problems that make your customer service go down. So the people calling into your customer service are always going to be those edge cases, right? And so you're wondering, like, why do I have so many customer service things if I design something that is appealable to the 90% of people or whatever out there. Those 10% are still a lot of people when you have a big product, when you have a scalable, high scaled startup. So we need to think about how to design something that is usable by 100% of people, or at least 99.99% of people, so that even in the worst case scenario, it's a enjoyable product. And in that way, you have people aren't calling you in your customer service thing with hate. They're if you do have people calling in, they're going to be calling in with maybe constructive feedback, or maybe some really good critiques on what else they want in the product and stuff like that. Like, they'll be calling you for their needs, not for things that they hate about you. So yeah. But in another like, the other side of this is that I just really enjoy working with technology. I really enjoy messing around with all this new stuff out there, studying it, trying to understand it, trying to think up use cases and think up how this will impact our future, and where we can go as a society and how we can use these tools together. It's just a really enjoyable thing for me. So I'm always looking for companies that has there's a lot of people out right now, that has a lot of innovative products that have ambitious goals, um, that are quirky a little bit, uh, but that really care, about each other, about their customers, about the world. And I'm hoping I could find, the ideal company. I want to work remotely because I want to be able to travel the world, get out of America finally. I feel like it's not safe here for folks like me. Move to Africa, but I also want to, just check out some other places, see what it's like living in, I don't know, Sweden, Singapore, Japan, all these other places. So I know this stuff is out there, but just a matter of finding it, getting to it. But yeah, it was a good talk. It's good. As always, just walking and talking. So I hope you learned something today. Hope you are thinking about, what you're interested in doing and why you're interested in doing it. And if you have anything to share, feel free to share below in the comments. That's what they say, right? Like, comment, subscribe, and all that. It's been fun. I want to start really distributing these videos, because I just been posting them. I haven't really tried too hard to get other people to watch them. So I think I want to start doing that more, because I feel like I am actually having I am putting a lot of value in these videos. At least I hope so. I want to see if I am putting value in these videos. So I want to get more people watching these and see what they think. And hopefully it is indeed valuable. Hopefully it does help people to figure out what they want to do. So thanks again for watching if you see this, and have a good day. Bye bye.